Funny Fun Beats. Welcome, everybody, to the EU coverage for Challenger Elites as we are getting ready to jump into our coverage on the community stream. It was a draw, Pablo. So that means it gets to come back to us and we get to ramble on about these two teams that we're going to be looking at. But before I guess we talking about these teams, I can actually ask you now, how are you feeling today? How you doing?
Well, I'm a lot less sweaty than I was about 15 minutes ago, but yeah, all good, mate. It's lovely to be back on the cast with you again. We just doesn't happen often enough. I think we might get two a season, but it is absolutely quality to be on with you. Obviously, this is going to be a really interesting matchup. We've got two teams. I would say you've got a ton of experience, but kind of never really gravitated towards the top end of challenges in Europe. They've always kind of dabbled in that area, so this is going to be kind of your higher mid-table clash, I guess.
I would assume so. I would assume so. And I was just gonna go back to like you saying we don't get to jump up here together very often, but I feel like you can cut my hair a little bit shorter, and the glasses, the beard. I could be Tom's doppelganger. I could be Tom's doppelganger.
I'm gonna call you Chafe and more from now on. Yeah, I think obviously with this game, I think Rousing, we've seen these players a
Yeah.
lot. They're kind of veterans of Clutch Rain. Against Team Twisted, we're gonna just have a look at the way the teams are set up. This is kind of a team that's played together in different forms in Team Twisted over the last couple of years. I mean, we got Pack. I mean, out of every player there, suppose Pack is the player that you would point out who is probably, the player that's the closest to getting and breaking into that top 12 kind of players position, and maybe top 16. We've got
Yeah.
BB Condor, who had an incredible season last season. He was so consistent in his performances in Black Ops 6. Hopefully he can marry that over. I think it's been a little bit trickier for him, but I think he's a kind of player that's intelligent and will pick that up. And Disarray again is a player that can take over a map. And Dizzy, for me, Colin, is a player that's just so intelligent. He's got ice in the veins. His decision making is impeccable, but they are up against a very, very experienced Rousing esport.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, there's been a little bit of growing pains for both of these rosters with these team changes coming into the elites, and we can highlight them a little bit more in a bit, Pablo. But these teams probably getting ready for this game. We could jump into the maps and check out what we're going to. So it was already a red card hard point that was played. It was Team Twisted that walks away with the win, 250 to 227 there. Vault Search coming up for map number 2. Vault Control guaranteed for 3. And then we get the double dose of Skyline to close things off for maps 4 and maps 5. And this is going to be an interesting one because, like I said, there were some growing pains for both of these teams so far, Pablo, in the elites. Both of them 0-2 in their respective group. For Team Twisted, it was a double 0-3 yesterday. For Rousing, it was 0-3 to Noctum and a 1-3 to Ben W's team. And heading into this one for, I'm sure both of them, a win here could, be the meaning of sparking something to try and sneak your way into playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for Rousing, it's a weird situation. You've got a couple of players there in Max and D3. They've got a ton of experience. I think they play this a lot for fun. I don't think they particularly got massive amounts of ambition to become like the greatest players in the CDL. I think they just love playing the challenges. They kind of dip in and out when they feel they're not always present in the challenges scene, and it's just something that's really fun for them. Yumenko,
Yeah.
on the other hand, I think is a player that is someone that's to watch out for on this side. Can take over a map, can put in some great performances, but because of the experience in Rousing, I think S&D, this could be a really good opportunity for them to level the series up. Obviously, it's a bit more of a level playing field, especially if you're not kind of, say, as insanely gifted in the gun skill department as Team Twisted. But honestly, I think Rousing, with their experience and just that kind of the way the French play, just a little bit kind of awkward and off angle, I think this could really throw the cat among the pigeons against Team Twisted.
No, I agree. And you kind of think about this team with, D3, Depa, and Yumeko. I mean, they've been playing together for quite a while, and it even brings me back to like MW2 on that Signs roster. Every single time we saw them in the cups with the elites, like they would always play these European teams exceptionally close. Never getting like the results I'm sure they would have deserved from like some showings, very tight games. But to see them coming out and still competing together, I love that consistency out of them. And even bringing in Weeths now in place of Junior for the elites. I know Junior was playing with them for majority of the year in Cups 1 and Cups 2, but switching out for Weeths now into the elites. Obviously 0-2 isn't the start that you want, but you are looking at a game like this to completely shift those tides and turn things around. So losing out on map number 1, not ideal for sure, but 250 to 227 shows me that this is an incredibly close match between these two teams, especially on a red card where things can get out of hands on rotations. So heading into the vault, search and destroy, I'm looking to see if Rausen can, switch things around for themselves, as they're going to be getting ready on the defensive side. Team Twisted starting on the attack, and for Vault, if we know anything, Pablo, it's going to be an A hit.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with S&D at the minute. The map design does lend itself to a consistent push towards this very kind of close quarter heavy bomb site. So it is going to be bomb almost going straight down. It is going to be a both kills on either side. Wheats and Pack making their way into the next round. But that gives the advantage to Rausen in the 3v4 with only 33 seconds on the clock. And it is going to be Rausen Esport Colin with a slender advantage.
And this would be a big kill to get onto BB Connor. So Yumeko nade cooked, but still alive back there. And you just cannot dislodge BB Connor from that angle. Big double kill coming out there to close out that round. And, as we do expect on this map, like we were kind of alluding to, offense kicking things off with a round win here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so frustrating, this map, Colin. Honestly, it sends me over the edge. The idea that it's less about strategy at times and more about who can win these individual gunfights. The trades are so difficult in this very compact space. So you do see kind of the ARs wanting to back off and get that suppressive control over towards Jacuzzi, and it's an insane map. So I'm still waiting. When we quite not there in the season where we're seeing B strategies really effectively pushed. Right now, you can straight away see just how crazy this map is. You see the kill feed goes absolutely wild. It goes slightly in favor of Rausen Esport, who do need to come back strong. Wheat still with bomb, and it looks like they're particularly going to look to try and get it on. What a mistake that was, Colin.
I mean, this is the newest addition to Team Twisted heading into the elites. Pac joining the squad, but not able to clutch up in the 1 versus 3. Dropped the bomb and, made a real, I'd say, call for a chance of opportunity there, but it's a tough one to dig yourself out a hole like that. And slow and steady for Yumeko, able to close things out again on the offensive side. They go back and forth, and that timing, it is so tricky to beat. And, we see a lot of teams trying to take some variations over towards A on the defensive side on what to do. A lot of it stems from, either flooding through middle, flipping in towards P2, taking control of Catwalk. And, not always do we expect teams to find success on defense just dropping through the middle. But without those trophies, they give it a shot, try to get the stuns off. But so far, offense has been successful in those stints. It looks like Dizzy's going to try to keep that going with the first blood, heading over to A again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a problem with the middle push on the defensive side is it's just a funnel, so trades become almost impossible, especially in that kind of tight area. It is going to be a drop down. The shots are going to be a little bit windy from Depa, though, so it is going to see 2 fall for both Twisted and Rausen. D3 is going to get that bomb down the old head, just looking to control the time a little bit more, but he's going to have to jump off because it is going to be BB Connor, and Dizzy reads that perfectly. Team Twisted are going to take the lead.
It is incredible there from the side of Team Twisted. Again, you lose both your members inside of the point, but the bomb was planted for Pool, and D3, that, so it's not really a situation where you can just jump the defuse and sit there comfortably. So has to chase down those players. There's 24 seconds, so by all means there is a chance for you to hunt that kill, but not an easy feat. Like we've been saying, for these defensive retakes so far, not so good. So swapping back to the defensive side now is Team Twisted to see if they can go back-to-back in rounds. And I'm looking at some variation here to douse this fire so far that has been the A hits. And it looks like the attacker is going to go right back to the basics, jump out. Depa pulls a first blood, traded by Dizzy. Bomb goes down at A, and Depa has great forward pressure.
Yeah, it's a really nice attempt to do a bit of parkour there, but maybe Connor is going to be ready and waiting, and obviously, which makes it much more difficult now for the boys of Rausen, who've got themselves in a tricky situation. One player totally isolated. That is going to be Yumeko, who finds himself into the next round, and that is going to be all she wrote on that round. 21 seconds, and Team Twisted looking to break the serve, Colin, and it looks like they've done exactly that. And I think that could be, that's a vital point in this S&D. The first team regularly to break the serve on such a one-sided map, usually the team that goes on to win it. So you would have to say ball back over to Rausen to see what they can do.
It definitely puts some serious pressure on the Rousen to mirror that and see if they can answer with a defensive round immediately so that things don't get out of hand. I do agree with you there. But I think for Rousen, you saw that a lot of individuals just trying to make some hero plays. It starts with Depa going for the jump up to Catwalk, missed timing, nobody in P2 to watch over that jump or get the information if it's even safe. And then Weaths on the jump up through mid, just trying to pull a route, and Team Twisted with all the time just biding it and waiting for a chance at these mistakes through mid. BB Connor finds two. He's going to pump the brakes, and now just watch from the top side of Catwalk with numbers advantage for Team Twisted. They can jump to A, get this bomb planted, and they even have information on Yumeko where he's going to be standing. They know there's no flank.
Yeah, this is going to be a tricky one for Rousing to be able to break. They're going to need a kill, and already you can see number 4 in Dizzy is going to be, in fact, it is going to be BB Connor looking to get that suppression from over towards back showers. It's going to be down, I think, to Yumenko to try and read that, but Connor right there. This should be easy picks for him. He does manage to play his life, but it's only going to eat away at the time for Rousing Esports, who is still kind of in an awkward position in this 3v2. And Deppa just tries to make a meal of it, but it is going to be Dizzy with the kill, and it is going to be Connor just getting that down. So Yumenko with 20 seconds finally gets dealt with. Team Twisted with a really clinical round there. Never looked
Yeah.
under any real pressure at all.
No, they haven't. And again, it's just coming off of those individual plays that we saw through the middle of the map. The SMG is getting hot. They pull off a double kill through mid, and they give you that numbers advantage. And after that, they're not really giving anything else up. You hold those power positions, you anchor onto the post plants, and it's up to Rousen to dislodge you there. And those are not easy fights to take if it's not handed over to you for free. And Team Twisted, these players, they've are super experienced in not only playing together, but in winning. So we saw them play it right, play it correctly, and now 3 rounds up. You need something from Rousen. You need it fast, and that's not a good start from Depa. He's going to get first blooded again. Bombs on A for Weeds, but he has no help in trying to plant it.
Again, this kind of like it's ideal if you want to try and get some suppressive fire from out towards outer palms, but again, it's just if you can't have got sight on anyone, you aren't going to play it more aggressively. It is going to be tricky for you. You see the RC just on the search if someone Dizzy manages to find D3, that's going to leave them again, Colin, in a 2v3, and with only 30 seconds on the clock, it's very likely that Raz are going to find themselves at a 4-round deficit.
Wheat's gonna get caught. Yumeko 1 versus 2. Bomb hopped for the defuse, and you gotta go fast. He's gonna slide in. Is there even time? There isn't. The defuse is stuck. The round is won. And Team Twisted ready to go up 2-0 in this series. Rousen just can't get anything going so far. It was a close hard points. Relatively, 23 seconds apart.
Yeah.
From both teams, but this Search and Destroy is not the same. It is the Team Twisted show from start to finish, and a lot of it just comes down from the individual capabilities to win their fights in the first bloods and play their post plant, play their numbers to perfection. Disarray, he's on 5 in a row, Pablo, so he's having himself a game.
I think it was interesting you mentioned signs earlier on when they were in the elite hardpoint. They were particularly good at. They just always been really strong hardpoint side. It's always been the S&D largely that's let them down. That kind of like peekaboo, cautious kind of approach doesn't lend itself to them. And as we say, that Wheats is going to get first blooded and potentially find himself going into the control. It is going to be a fight back straight away from D3 though. Manages to take down Connor and make it a 3v3. So 36 seconds on the clock, and you can see already just a little bit of caution stepping into the play of both sides, but I expect any second now, Colin, all hell is about to break loose.
30 seconds, Dizzy finds some timing on to deliver, and the trade's out. It's a 1 versus 1. 30 seconds now down to 20. Depa gonna slide right out into the pool, reads it perfectly, but the shot's just not to back it. That is a tough loss in the round there for the 1 versus 1. Depa having a chance to extend the vault search, but a little bit ahead of the pressure. And you see this right now from Dizzy to close it out. Nice shot to the Jackal, 8 and 4 to win things on this search and destroy. Obviously, we don't get to see the proper stats there, but you look at the top of the score where it says 6-1, Pablo, and you know Team Twisted were having themselves a game.
I think Dizzy really encapsulates the confidence coming out of the team in S&D at the very final kill, that slide to get really exposed into pool, and he just, the accuracy, the center point right there just gets the shot. He's got ice in the veins. I think he's one player particularly to look out for who, concentrated on his individual gameplay could become, something a bit more special. But right now, Team Twisted just looking, unmovable. And we know that the
Oh
Depot and
yeah.
D3 they provide us with good hardpoint, but going into these more strategic games, I think the lack of scrims, the fact that they tend to come into this, I don't think with the same level of determination necessarily in terms of that ultimate ambition. I think is starting to show, and these guys just as I think they've got great gun skill and individually can be very good, but just that kind of they're just slightly off
Oh
the
yeah.
pace when it comes to the likes of Team Twisted who have got way more. I think just a little bit more ambition in that sense. But right now, going into control, how many times, Colin, have we seen a control where we've thought the team 2-0 up was about to slam it 3-0? Yesterday, we've seen it a few times, and it just the script gets thrown out the window, and you just the team comes back. Is it going to happen? This is the
It's tough
point
to
where
tell.
Brody just usually goes, "Shut up, Pablo."
It's just time to see for ourselves when you get into that map number 3. But you're right. I mean, we saw it yesterday for Team Notorious. They won the control versus Katana. They hit the reverse sweep, and nobody really saw it coming until we were in that hard point, and it was almost a near 100-point club on the red card. But it's going to have to be, Rousin really digging deep against this squad. And I like that you kind of bring up the past for some of these players. I mean, Disarray, Dizzy, BB Connor, Pac. I mean, you think back to Revived Gaming last year in the Elites and what they were able to do together on that squad, playing into the elite stage playoffs, making it deep in some of those runs. And you think back to, stage 2 playoffs when they placed third in the elites, and that was a moment where you look at these players and you say, all right, so they have what it takes. And maybe this year on BO6 it hasn't been the start to the elites that they would have hoped for. I mean, even in the cups, I mean, back-to-back top 16s in cup 2 and cup 3, so there's growing pains. And it may be a game issue, maybe a reps issue. I'm not really sure. I can't really say, I'm not there, but to see them looking like that in a search and destroy, those are steps I like to see from Team Twisted to show some dominance, to hope to climb their way back in this group stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think an interesting thing to note is that Pac is so far ahead of quite a lot of the players in this lobby. He's often he's on the kind of end of the tongue in conversations with some of the top teams. I've seen conversations where Pac is not overlooked. He's a consideration for quite a lot of these top teams. So I think just finding his feet again in challenges is probably going to send him a long way to potentially doing that. But this side's ideal for him. You've got such a good foundation in Dizzy and Disarray, and then obviously you've got Connor, who was amazing last year. I don't think he's quite hit that form in Black Ops 6, but I think it's coming. It's slowly but surely on its way. I think this is, for me, a little bit SMG heavy as a game, and I think he's someone that prefers that kind of
Yeah.
AR role. I just think that again, those three are a really good springboard potentially with Pac, with that experience and intelligence that he's got, go a long way to seeing that they could do well in this. Very much kind of like Noctum vibes about them in terms of like the players as individuals often get overlooked, but as a unit they're just very solid. So I think this Team Twisted side could cause a few surprises. I don't see Rousin potentially doing great in this control, but they, as again we've mentioned, Colin, that they've got great individual gunplay. They great hard point in this, with this kind of halfway between a kind of respawny kind of strategic, somewhere between hardpoint and S&D. They could provide us with a surprise. I just
Yeah.
think there's too many brains in Team Twisted for that to happen.
Is what I love about the elites, Pablo, is that anything is possible at any moment for these teams. And when you talk about Rousin and these players back in the previous titles, I mean, it was search and destroy that was the issue. So heading back to a respawn, can they get into that form of slaying out and taking over? So starting off on the attacking side, it's going to be tough for sure for Rousin, especially going down 2 right off the get-go. But you're trying to hold your lives, trying to push on forward, but another 2 go down, and that is going to put you off the respawn as a full 4 and allow these players on Team Twisted to start push up.
Yeah, this is going to be a tricky one. They've already been backed up, and you can already see just how much geography the team in blue have taken up. But just keep your eyes peeled for D3 out there, just looking to try and get picks out towards spawn, get a little bit of spawn control, and allow his teammates the ability to be able to push up. But anything that he can do, we can see number 8 and Dizzy can do just as well. He does manage to just wheedle his way out of getting shot and manages to get a bit of support. And now this has come a weird war of attrition over either side of that A zone. So this could be very interesting. Next few kills are going to give someone complete control of the zone, or they're going to be forced back to that respawn column.
It's all fun and games when you're finding kills here and there, but the time has just been bleeding down. 25 seconds already, and you're off the respawn again. Dizzy on one side, BB Connor on the other. You are trapped and sandwiched inside your spawn. Deliver looking to do a little bit of payback to Team Twisted, but instead you got to look at this objective. 9 seconds left, nobody here to touch the point. Finally somebody gets on towards A, but you have no catwalk control. Dizzy here to shut you down, take you off the zones, and the rest of the team to follow in suit and just make it almost impossible to stack this one. However, Deliver making an argument here. 5 in a row, has the team
There's
behind
no
them.
way.
You got progress at A now, Pablo. Deliver, though, he's going to go down 4 seconds. Now Yumeko has to slide out. Somebody's got to touch, but players down into the vaults take him down. Only one tick on A, and that is going to be the offense snuffed out quick.
Lose your offense to a peekaboo from mid. Well, that was just the story of Rousen's day so far. But yeah, it all comes about control of that kind of front part of the zone. And obviously Team Twisted just take up so much geography, get those first handful of kills, get themselves set up for that spawn trap. And despite the heroics of D3 trying to replicate that at the other end of the map, just not able to do it. Not enough players dying for him to really be effective in the spawn. It just became a game of cat and mouse between him and one other Team Twisted player. So really just difficult for Rousen to get on the point. I think it was 9 seconds before we saw the toe hit the point. So it just tells you they are on the struggle bus quite considerably. And, you know, they've got to make a comeback right now. Going to be interesting to see how Team Twisted set themselves up on this offensive side.
Got to get your priorities in check, Pablo, and get things going inside of this control, or you're going to be looking at the barrel of 0-3 in Elite Stage 1. It's 4-1 right away. This is a chance to just stack A. If not, you know, dance over towards B and maybe split this objective pressure, but they're going to stack A, try to get this progress as quick as possible. One of the members hops over towards B, but he's going to be dealt with. Dizzy now in P4. Try to find some of the members of Rousen off the respawn. In fact, he's going to miss a few, and the timing doesn't pay off for Team Twisted right now. Second tick isn't cemented. Still time ticking down, and you're back to square one, it feels, if you're Team Twisted. But nothing's decapped, and the second tick does come through. Pac now looking to finish off A, almost gets the third there onto Deliver, but instead he's going to be all alone. Teams off the respawn again, and Twisted are all over the place everywhere at once.
Yeah, it's going to be down to Connor now, just looking to cause some problem out towards the back. He's going to make sure that that attention is completely over towards him, and that's probably going to allow them to get that A zone 152 on the clock, and they've already made their way over to B, and because of Connor's presence over towards that spawn point, it's just meant that they're going to get that first take done and dusted. So right now, very much on the front foot, and they've got themselves a ridiculous life count lead over 8. Well, it's 8 lives right now, over 8 lives. Where am I going? It's like an average. But yeah, it's incredible stuff from Team Twisted, who just look dominant from the outset, and really anything that Rousen have tried to throw at them has just been thrown right back and with more. So right now that B zone still requires 2 ticks, Colin, but there's a solid 130 on the clock and only 10 lives on the team in yellow.
Well, Dizzy here, 4 in a row, hits the jump around. Not going to expect to play our top art, and that is a good cleanup from Weeds. Disarray now. Chance to make a play, but instead, I mean, you're just bleeding lives at this moment. There's a minute 12 on the clock. 8 lives left for Rousen. This is some good old TDM for Team Twisted. They know exactly how to put themselves in winning distance of this offensive round. Depa, alongside the rest of his team, going to slay out 3 down. Finally, some reprieve for Rousen Esports, and they get a chance to now set up.
Yeah, I think with a minute on the clock, though, I think you were right to point out that it could end up being a TDM. Plenty of time for all these players to go the way of the either the end of the game or the next game. But yeah, 6 versus 11. They've managed to bring it back with though that wipe of 4 or 5 kills. Really set the cat among the pigeons in terms of the life count. But with only 5 lives left, it is going to be 2 to 1 in terms of ratio, and that's going to go even less now as the team in blue just start to slay right out. Now the boys hitting Rouse and Esports are stuck in spawn, and that B capture is going over, so they're going to have to push out and risk those final 3 lives.
Well, it's time or objective. It's going fast. Third tick now still hopped on. Yumeko struggling to land some shots. 1v7. The rest of the team not even going to give it a chance to push on forward. Everybody's here on B. Progress is going fast. And Yumeko, no chance in the world to get that one done. 2-0 for Team Twisted in the control. 2-0 in the series. 1 round. It's a sweep. And they have their chance to start the climb back here in Elite Stage 1. But for the other side, for Rouse and Esports, Poplo, I mean, this is devastating to watch.
Well, this is it. This is the last play. This is your last chance saloon as such. This is where you've got to turn things round. This is your last opportunity in this game, or you're facing down the barrel of an 0-3 start in the elite. So right now, Rouse and Esports on the precipice of what would essentially be disaster. They've probably not the in the running in terms of favourites, but they probably wanted to at least try and have more of a competitive edge. But right now, they are at the last chance saloon, I suppose, for this game. And it's going to be Depa who starts things off with that first kill. But you can just see the aggression coming out of Team Twisted. They take up so much geography. They get as far ahead as possible. And when they get the kills, they just maintain that as well. And you can see Disarray going absolutely off there. Gets himself another kill. Takes control of mid from that top balcony. And it is just looking like they want to get this done. But it is 26 lives, plays 26 right now. And that's a big kill from D3.
If BB Connor found that one, that would have been absolutely insane. But it definitely looks systematic from Team Twisted. On the other side, very disjointed. And Rousen now need to not only reverse sweep this control, but they need to make it look clean, as they're most likely going to have the offense in round 5. If it does go the distance here. So 2 ticks at A. Another set of kills. Pushing into the spawn. Yumeko going to absorb that pressure. Take down 1. BB Connor sent back to the respawn block. Team Twisted looking for some routes here. See if they could set a spawn trap in the end of Rouse and Esports. But the flank's going to be picked up and a couple kills come through. So they're going to hop on towards A. It's a double stack. Disarray up top should be able to take care of at least one. He will. And the trades out secures A. Rousen another chance at life here in game 3.
Yeah. Holy, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it in the most exciting fashion possible. But they have got to capture that more difficult B zone. It is, a tied life count. It is marginal in terms of that difference. But they've got to got 137. So ultimately, maybe 2 or 3 pushes at this, depending on how the wave of lives go. This could be very difficult for them. Again, they're going to need to get control over towards Art and top Art and maintain that suppression, especially over towards that spawn area, and make sure the Team Twisted can't push out. But right now they've got the exact opposite problem. Connor over towards their far right spawn is causing problems. He's just dropped D3. The blue arrows are pushing right the way up, and that B zone seems a far way away right now.
Weith's in the enemy lines. He's found his way through. The route pays off, but he's gonna have to give himself up as soon as he hops into the B zone. Now Team Twisted know that they can turn around, but instead they're looking straight to the respawners. They know there's no respawns left, so you take the rest off. There's no pressure on the zone. 1 left for Rousen. Everybody's leaving, and that is going to be Team Twisted putting a win in the column for Elite Stage 1. Rousen dropped down to 0-3 for their groups. And if you're looking at this for Team Twisted's perspective, Poplo, I think you couldn't have asked for a better win to get yourself back in day 2.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want a confidence booster, then absolutely slap a team 3-0. The hardpoint a little bit closer than the rest of the series, 227 to 250. And obviously we know that the French lads are very, very confident when it comes to hardpoint. But that S&D was just a walk in the park for Team Twisted. And then you go to control where they just never really looked under any pressure. And frustration really, really telling a tale as well as the guys from Rousen quit out before the end of the game. You can see just how frustrated frustrated they were at their own performance. I'm sure they're probably annoyed at themselves on an individual basis. But Team Twisted, great bounce back for them, and exactly probably what they wanted to start day 2 of the Elites.
And even at like face level, just kind of watching that matchup, it just didn't seem like the foundation was there for Rouse and Esports. I mean, you think, round 1 in the control, nobody was jumping the objective. You're looking to the respawns, but you're not finding those kills, and you're losing out on both fronts at that point for control. And I mean, this has been a game mode that we've been playing for years, and these players have been competing in for years. And to not see that foundation, it just doesn't feel like it's all there for these players just yet for Black Ops 6 at this moment. To go down 0-3, I'm sure it's frustrating, and there's a lot to work on if you do want to compete this year, but it's just not what you like to see when you've been rooting for these players for so long. And for Team Twisted, I mean, we look back and we look at the maps and the way they've handled this series. Yes, the red card was close, but that's about it. And red card tends to lend into a map that does have a little bit of back and forth, especially how influential the spawn system is on that map and how big it is for the rotations to really pay off for your team. But outside of that, the search and destroy was clean. You had you had Dizzy just running amok in that Vault S&D. Disarray and BB Connor really taking over for the Vault control. Pac doing Pac things the whole time. And like I said, I mean, that's a very big confidence boost for them across the series.
Yeah, I mean they've got to be happy. 9 Cerberus heads to run across 3 maps there is exactly where they wanted to be. But again, that S&D and that control really just given the capability that they've got, just outlines it to the rest of the teams that they're going to come up against. And I guess if you're watching this, you're probably not going to want to play them in an S&D vault or a vault control. So it's wild to think that I guess I don't even understand where red card would fit into this. It's been kind of like the pariah map so far, so maybe a really clever choice on their part, or maybe a really dumb choice on the part of Rouse and Esports. But again, just a devastating performance and really quick. We've seen so many game 5s of late that it's really surprising to see such a devastatingly quick and dominant performance coming out of Team Twisted. But again, the players that they've got just lend themselves to that. It's just their capabilities. They've moved on from last year, and they just seem to be going from strength to strength. And again, Pac obviously stands out as a player
Funny Fun Beats.
Welcome back, everybody, to the European Challenger Elite coverage on the community stream. My name is Seymour. With me is Pablo. We got through our first match of the day, Pablo. It was a blowout, I will say, from both of the teams. And Team Twisted, they looked fantastic. But now we move into a more notorious matchup, I will say. In fact, probably the most notorious matchup that we do have. Notorious Gaming on one side, Team Notorious on the other. Pablo, this is going to be one of the most confusing games I've ever commentated.
I mean, it's not like there's enough words in the dictionary that they could, come up with something a bit more original. But between them, I suppose we have got a wide plethora of talent across the continent. So it still should be a fairly notorious game by the end of it. But yeah, this is going to be very confusing. But thankfully, they've managed to choose quite disparate colours as well. So we should be okay. But
Yeah.
on one side, notorious gaming with some players we do recognise, some quality players in Nadox and Fabroni are two players that we've cast over, many times before. Mighty and Melko, I think players we are not as familiar with, but we are pretty much used to their play style. And then on the other side, obviously, Colin Team Notorious, who are absolutely stacked with talent, including probably for me the most surprising exclusion from the CDL from last year in Afro.
Yeah, and not only that, Eric Boom as well, just rounding out this roster as the SMG duo. I think everybody looked at this Team Notorious squad and said, wow, I cannot believe they got away with picking up talent like this, because with Afro and Eric Boom both dropping back into the Challengers pit, and you add it with Rafi and F Dot, who've just been nonstop on the climb year after year, making arguments on, is it their time? Are these players that we will see in the CDL? This is a fantastic roster, and I think they've been proving that every single time we see them in events, whether it's Cups or the Challenger Elites. And, for the Team Notorious, I'm sure we've already seen them on Twitter, make the stake that they are the more notorious team, Pablo. But I'm sure Notorious Gaming want to take that mantle away from them. And we do have the map sets here. It's going to be Vault, Skyline, Vault, Skyline, Vault. Not much
Big
out of that, Pablo, but it's going to be a fun one, a real bang out for the SMGs to have serious impacts. And that's where we look back to Afro and Eric Boom.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we've seen just how capable they are on this Skyline map. It's so small, it's so explosive. They get the S&D and the hardpoint, which I know they absolutely loved. They dominated that first S&D tournament that I was able to cast over them at the beginning of the season, and they just looked incredible on hardpoint. And Vault, again, despite the fact that it's a larger map geographically, quite a lot of the objectives are quite close to each other, so it's one that they prefer. But you can absolutely put a sider on Rafi that he is going to dominate in the S&D. He's got a really smart brain when it comes to search and destroy. And then we've got the boy wonder, I guess. In many ways, he's probably well past that moniker now in Felix F. Dot, who is someone that me and Major talk about all the time as coming through at the same time we kind of came through as casters, and he's just gone on from strength to strength, and he's putting up such good numbers. Now, they are, again, we talk about that they are kind of up against what could be a banana skin team for them, in that they're a very capable group of players in Notorious Gaming, but they are going to have to be on their absolute best form when they hit the Skyline. Like, Vault's already going to be difficult enough for them, but that Skyline S&D and that Skyline hardpoint, if they are able to get to that game 4, are going to be so very difficult for them.
No, and it's funny because, when we look at this Notorious Gaming team, and we were just like highlighting, the past for players like Deliver and Depa, and Fabrona was a part of that journey for both of them all the way back in MW2 with that Signs roster, MW3 jumping in, playing with alongside Yaza, Deliver, and Nodox still, but that core of like Yaza, Deliver have split away from them. Fabrone and Nodox still playing together here, and you add in the likes of Mighty and alongside that Melko, and these are players who have that experience playing all year with each other, and that experience goes a long way when we're in terms of talking about not only playing together, but in reps for the title, because we didn't see a lot of that reps in our previous match. But for a team like Notorious Gaming, do I expect them to just dethrone a team like Team Notorious? I don't expect it, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility either for these players. We've seen them at their highs, and we know they have a high ceiling. It's just, can they reach that ceiling here in this moment?
Well, it's all going to come down, I think, to the capabilities of someone like Nadox, who's got probably the most experience and probably the most high-profile player out of that foursome of Notorious Gaming. So it is going to be those guys having to just deal with I don't know how you describe it, just insane pace, the incredible use of the Omni movement that you're going to get out of Eric Boom and out of Afro, who expect to put up some incredible numbers. Now, in support of that, F Dot is going to be the player who drops the two-piece there, but he is someone as well who is kind of very much in the realm of Super, being able to pick up an SMG and absolutely fry, not just Mr. AR, but really, really do a good job. And not just a case of getting kills, but using it really effectively in an intelligent way that a really good SMG would do.
Yeah, and you can see that some good help from Afro too to pick up the rotation to P2 with some flawless time coming out from Team Notorious, and you're catching the routes as well. Eric Boom, good shots there into the back of Maddox to again rip away these rotations from Notorious Gaming. It's all yellow in the feed. I mean, this is a bloodbath. 4 kills in total on Notorious Gaming, and look at how much space F Dot is happy to take. He wraps around, hits the flank, shoots Natix in the back, and that's just going to slow this down even longer, allow Notorious to just, or Team Notorious to just further sink their fangs into this hill.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about disparity in terms of quality. Team Notorious, they probably wouldn't. There'd be a chance they wouldn't finish last in the CDL. They're just, they've got two experienced players who've played at the CDL level. They've got a player in Rafi who's kind of like part of a group of solid S&D performers in Europe who've always been very good, and we've seen a couple of his mates put top teams under pressure when there's been pro-am. So again, and then you match that with F Dot, who's been a rising star. These are just, it's a remarkable side, really, and no wonder that they're in that top 3 conversation. So it is going to just largely be those yellow arrows just causing absolute consternation. What can Notorious Gaming do? Well, right now they obviously need to win some gunfights in order to just get that geography a little bit more, but it's green skull upon green skull on the map, and right now just not able to shift them despite the efforts of number 7 there in Fabroni, looking to try and get in and around the back. So right now it is a very difficult time. 77, it's going to be very soon, 70-point lead, Colin, as we hit into that P4.
Oh, we can pump the brakes for a second, Pablo, because Notorious Gaming are in the hill. And there's still 20 seconds. Obviously, it's not going to be easy to cut this lead right away. But with the rotation over towards P4, this is a good chunk of time that you can gain off of these 2 hills. And you can see that Team Notorious, they know that. So they're going to hit through P3, see if they can start to threaten these respawns and try to flip the map, which is already happening. A split spawn in the back. Notorious Gaming, they're in trouble, and they have nobody over to P4. They just happily hand over the keys to P4 to Team Notorious.
Yeah, TN doing absolute work there. But number 7, again, we highlighted Fabroni and Nadox as 2 players who needs to go off. And right now, Fabroni is about as close to that as you're going to get. 8 and 10, unfortunately, only the 1 second on the board. But he's just trying his best to try and get in and around the side here. Not able to do it, so a little bit of support going to be required from Melko, who's kept his life quite well, but he just needs to make this work. And right now, he gets that shot. So Melko and Mighty manages to get those picks, but right now, I'm still not able to dig out Team Notorious. And they kind of can afford, they've got themselves the 40 or 35 seconds that they needed. They can afford to give the scrap time away with this lead. They're at about 80 seconds, and they're going to be set up potentially for the next hill. You can see number 1 there, Nafro, already spawning out.
That's another 3 down. Fabrone a little bit ahead of the play, and Afro spawning out is just going to make things even harder. Fortunately, Natix is going to be able to clean that up, but you lose the fight towards Old. It's just huge margins for Team Notorious right now. And you look at F. 15 and 5. I swear, I just saw him on his second 6 in a row for this map. But it's a good slay up from Natix. He's going to slide through lobby, clear out 3. A good time for Notorious Gaming if they jump this hill and soak it up. Now for the power positions. See if they can push through and keep Team Notorious away from this one. They have the setup. They have the player on the hill, but now he's all alone. Everybody's going to try to make a play to break it. Afro through that outskirts. He goes down 4 again in the feed for Notorious Gaming. Finally finding some rhythm.
Yeah, I think the key to them now is if they get a kill read like that, where they get 4 kills, they need to turn that into solid time, which they are doing. They've now got themselves back within 45 seconds. This could be really big plays for Notorious Gaming. We said that they've got the potential to do well in the hardpoint, like a lot of the French teams do. They have got very good respawn capabilities, but it is going to be about just trying to fight off. Now, right now, Colin, Eric Boom, you would argue, is on the back foot, only 24 seconds, 10 and 13, making his life a little bit difficult for himself. Probably not warmed up, but again, you've got to take advantage of that. You've got to utilize
Yeah.
when you've got a player of his capability not performing. You've got to take advantage of it.
Well, Afro's going to slide into the hot tub, the double kill. And Notorious break from the front now to pressure out these respawns. Eric watching the side lane. He's going to take down Nadix and loses out on his teammates in the meantime. So Eric Boom in enemy line pulls the spawns back for the team. So Team Notorious will be able to hit this one again with 25 seconds left. But it's a split kill feed, and Notorious Gaming just have been slowly closing the gap on this lead, Pablo. I mean, what was almost a 70-point game now is just barely a 30-point game for Team Notorious. You look back over towards P3, and this is where Notorious Gaming were able to start this comeback. P4, obviously, they had a little bit of a hiccup in that rotation. They allowed Team Notorious to find a gap, but if you could write that wrong for Notorious Gaming, they are right back into this game.
Oh, that's a read though from Eric Boom over towards middle. The player in the middle, I think, was Nadox, just waiting kind of like to pounce, and just got absolutely dealt with. But it is also going to mean, I do believe Melko was out the back just trying to watch the players off spawn and wasn't able to deal with them. So right now you can see this kind of war of attrition, but is it going to come down to that player 2 in F-Dot? He's going to have that suppression capability over towards top art and just be able to see over to the site and provide that coverage right there. It is going to require someone like Nadox to try and push forward, and you can see already how much problems it causes when you've got someone like Afro in and around the hill and someone like F-Dot providing that suppression.
And 6 in a row for Afro. I mean, it's just streak after streak for these Team Notorious individuals, and that is what's keeping this lead for them so far. But again, Notorious Gaming not out of the conversation yet. 50-second lead for Team Notorious, and if Notorious Gaming can find a break early, then you're looking to flip this lead on this hill in particularly. Unfortunately, crossing through the middle of this street seems almost impossible with a player in top R as well as top P4. And you can just see these turrets. Rafi is happy to put shots on these players as they cross, and he is not missing so far. F-Dot's going to clean up that kill towards the outside. You're still soaking up this hill, which is a money hill on Vault. And that lead, which is just 50, just looks untouchable now.
Yeah, that's the blender right there. Unfortunate for F-Dot, he did have to be pushed kind of off the street, so missed one player coming through, but it doesn't matter. You've got Afro right in the hill there, causing so many problems. So right now, Notorious Gaming got themselves back to within 50 seconds, so staring down the battle of potentially being 100 seconds behind from one kill. Incredible performance from Team Notorious, but that is the blender right there, crossing that street. As you pointed out, Colin, just being almost impossible for the team in green. It is going to be back to this third rotation, P1, to see if they can pick it up again. At times, they did look like they were able to compete, but when you've got Eric Boom going from being regularly negative to 21 and 19, you know you're potentially going to be on the struggle bus. Afro, Colin, looking to control mid here.
Well, Eric started around. Afro's been on one all game long. Big win there from Mighty inside of the hill. And that's going to keep them in least contention for this time. 31 seconds. Rafi now, he's going to be on the route for the flank through lobby. Nobody going to be expecting it, but F-Dot and Afro go big inside the point. F-Dot finds a second one. Sends him back to the respawn. Notorious Gaming still have the better setup towards P2, but this is 20 seconds that's just going to get Team Notorious closer and closer to a win on this Vault hardpoint. So you got to throw bodies in. Unfortunately, Fibrone's going to find a team kill onto Mighty, and that makes things even tougher for the players off the respawn. No setup for the rotation to P2. Everybody's going to be looking for exits off of this first hill. They get the kills. They have the setup, but Pablo, look at the difference in score.
Yeah, 226 plays 118, guys. This is going to be a massive struggle. Now they were able to get themselves a bit of solid time between this P2 P3 rotation, so this could be a moment when Notorious Gamer are going to make this a little bit more exciting. But they've got to win their gunfights. F. Rafi and Afro teaming up there to make that an almost impossibility. Only 20 seconds required off of this P2, and they've got the really solid setup. You've got number 3 there in Rafi watching over towards mid. They've got Afro settled right into that showers area. And only 10 seconds required. Really, Colin, no pressure has been applied by the Notorious game, and Team Notorious had it pretty easy in the end. We do see a couple of kills, but it is going to be Team Notorious with a kind of expected win. At times they got put under a little bit of pressure, but it's not going to be enough. The first blow of the Notorious conquest goes the way of TN.
Yeah, and you got to show some respect over towards FDOT for what he was able to do. 30 and 19 with that Jackal in hand, just showing that you're direct and saying that he can be the best of both worlds with both a Jackal and an Ames. But in terms of pressure throughout rotations, it was this guy here on your screen, Afro, who puts together quite the highlight reel inside this final kill cam, and it felt like every single time we saw a rotation or some term of route needing to be run, Afro was there. 25 and 19, not the sexiest scoreline, but even still, he's finding value in those routes and hopping on the time for the objective, soaking up that hill, especially towards P4. You thought for a second it was going to be close in the second rotation, but that P3, P4 was just not something that Notorious Gaming could put together, Pablo. And I think that you look at Team Notorious and just how heads up they are at putting value into those money hills, that you see how quick they are to find their kills to P3 and immediately flip the map on P4. Very heads up and very ahead of things.
Oh, I think if you're a kind of like up and coming team or someone who's not quite made it into the challenges scene, I would give that P4 a watch, because that was a pretty solid strategy, and the guys in green and Notorious Gaming just could not get across that street for love nor money. And at times the rotations were just absolutely solid, and you can see here 127 plays 250 in that vault. And the problem that Notorious Gaming face now is they go into a skyline where Team Notorious are untouchable, literally untouchable. Like, this is their playground. Like, they're chilling in the pool. They're just going to make it so difficult for you. Afro absolutely loves this, even on S&D, which is usually a little bit more cautious. He's going to own this map.
Yeah.
So Notorious Gamer, Colin, going to have to go big here.
And to think that hard point at one point was around 150 to 100, and it was just in contention for the start, but that got out of hands, and TN, they took control. Notorious Gaming, how do they answer back here in the search and destroy? Well, it's got to be clinical, systematic, and slow, because like you said, you know that Afro, FDOT, and Eric Boom are going to want to get Mixy on the map. So you have the default setup. Mighty going to be watching the cross towards A. Nade's going to tag him up, and the early damage actually deletes him with that frag. So Afdot's going to double down. It's going to force Notorious now to push out of their spawn. The trade from Fibron, but will it be enough? You have another player who is on the prowl. It's Afro in your backline, and there's going to be some easy shots to put the round away.
Yeah, nice to see Fabroni with the reaction kills, but again, that's just, you know, when the strategy's out the window and that's all you've got left, it's never going to be easy in that 1v3. And Rafi, we talked about being an absolute S&D brain right there, already 3-0 game one. He's going to absolutely shine in this. You can bet on that. But honestly, I think it's going to be very difficult for Notorious Gaming if they want to be able to get, you know, any kind of joy in this skyline. They're going to need to kill to get a trade. I mean, that's what they're going to have to do, is to make sure that they're not just getting that first blood or just getting a kill. They need to make sure they keep applying pressure, and it's so difficult when you've got such an array of talent on the other side. But straight over to the bomb site and try and get that down. Oh, it's a big kill though, and exactly what we said they needed to do. They are on the back foot, but take it away. They're in a 3v1.
Now it's FDOT's turn. We've seen plenty of 1v3s on day one of the elites. Can this be another?
Is his pad broke?
He must have had a controller disconnect or something. Or this is just bait, like the most incredible. Strategy. So I think it's safe to say that we've lost FDOT.
Felix, are you there, Felix? Push the glass towards yes.
Well, I imagine there's going to be a remake, Pablo, and with that round starting, I would assume it would stay 1-1 off the reset, but
Yeah, it was.
that is not it's not our job to figure out.
I mean, that was a 1-1. Yeah, if well, they've quit out, so I think we're going to need to find out what the script is and what the score is. So might need to message someone there and get an idea of what the actual score is. Whether they're going to have that. It's moments like this, Colin, where you start to worry, because if it was a technical issue from the start of the round and they didn't quit out early enough and all the other problems that come with that, is that going to be a problem? I can imagine that Notorious Gaming are going to feel mightily aggrieved. They got themselves in such a good position. It was a 3v1, and let's be honest, F Dot looked like he was moving absolutely sweet until he made his way over to the other side of catwalk and then made that kind of like absurd play, which kind of indicated his pad had
Well,
gone. But
I would say 9 times out of 10, Pablo, that 3v1 doesn't happen. Off the reset, I would imagine that that is going to be a 1-1 tie. Although, fortunately for you and I, like I said, that is not something that we have to deal with. So we're going to let the admins take care of things. We'll send things to a break on the desk while we get ready to jump back into the skyline. We'll come back to you with all the news that you need to know. We'll see you soon with more coverage. Welcome back. Sorry for the break. As we would have expected, it's going to be a reset, tied 1-1. As we go back to Team Notorious on their offense, it was pretty clinical, Pablo, for the way they got it done. But this time, Notorious Gamer are going to go right into the deep end of a fight them head on with Jackals and, in fact, put them to rest in this moment. As quick as it gets, they take
Yeah.
the lead.
Mate, I love it when the rounds are that fast because you always struggle to cast it. It's like, oh wait, they've killed 5 people have died, and I've only said 7 words. But yeah, incredible, really quick. And we talk about Brody was arguing with me about this yesterday. Like, if you are going to be in the struggle bus against a much superior team, do something more rash, go a bit more rogue, play a bit faster, play your off angles, and just try and break the rhythm. And that's exactly what Notorious Gaming able to do. They're going to go into the lead 2-1 for anyone just joining. We had a bit of a restart, and they did it in style. That was a dominant game. So right now it is going to be Nadox with the bomb, so it's going to be again this mass push over towards the bomb site, and it's going to be first blood the way Notorious Gaming column. They're on the ascendancy.
Yeah, they're back on the defense to see if they can pull some shots there from Notorious Gaming, but F-Dot's going to be caught. Afro through the vents. And Raffi in trouble, so Team Notorious trying to find some way back into this, but Eric Boom's going to go down, and that's going to put some effort onto Afro to make a play, but Maddox with the heads-up turnaround takes down Afro's flank, and it leaves Raffi in a 1 versus 4 shut down. All 4 go down clean. And Notorious Gaming now 3-1 up.
Game on, Colin, mate. Game on. This is 4-0 for Nadox. The restart bringing the connection, and he's looking very, very solid. A little bit of a pause for thought there. He manages to go prone and get that final kill, but Notorious Gaming looking absolutely, unfallible right now. They're 3-1 up, and great performance from them. Really, it's about Team Notorious. If they got a mid-game regain, Colin, coming up, they need to pick themselves up, because it's Raffi and Afro you're going to be looking to as your big players in an S&D. And right now, it's not going their way. 0-2 for F-Dot, and not much better for everyone else.
Well, this time you get a first blood from Raffi. He finds 2, in fact, expecting the push through Catwalk. And he's just reading everything right. Raffi on 3 in the round, looking for the ace now. His aims is shooting straight, and he has spotted the last member. Can he get it? No, he can't. Natix or Fibron puts an end to that one, and Team Notorious, they'll still get the win, but it's all down to Raffi really holding his own in the spawn. Great shots coming out from the back line.
Yeah, you would expect Raffi at this level to just absolutely shine. He's been, incredible player in S&D for a number of years now. There was the Raffi Grad Furious kind of S&D domination that they would have. But yeah, he's just carried this on, and right now just needs it because they're 3-2 down. Notorious Gaming just on the front foot, but you obviously can't write off this team in yellow. But again, it is going to be Notorious Gaming, who've looked great on the offense since the restart. They've just looked really, really solid. They're going for another quick push. They're going to challenge some of the best SMG players in CQB, and they're doing great doing it. And again, Colin, it's the yellow players, yellow skulls that are littering the map.
Which is what Team Notorious want. They want to claw their way back into this one, down 1 round. 3v2 for Notorious Gaming, so worked for F-Dot to try and get done. He's going to re-wrap over towards bedroom together with Afro now looking into the back spawn to put the full setup here. They're not going to expect Malco just laying prone behind the chairs. Finds 2, puts it away, keeps Notorious Gaming in the lead.
Get the pressure on. 4-2 to Notorious Gaming. I'm sure the guys from NG right now will be going crazy. They are close to putting the pressure right onto this side in a game and a map that you just wouldn't expect it. It's going to require something a bit more special. Expect Afro, Raffi, and Eric Boom to be sitting a little bit more forward about now. Obviously, F-Dot Respawn seems to be more of his game mode, but you expect so much more out of Team Notorious. But right now, the boys from France doing an incredible job, and we said you got to look to those more experienced players for Brony and Nadox, and they are doing just that. It is going to be though first blood for the first time, Colin, in a little while from F-Dot, so a little bit of a boost there. After 0-4, that is not CDL standard right there.
No, it's not. And off the reset, we know Afro had a little bit of influence before the reset, so numbers aren't fairly true for this match in general, but for now, it's not looking good. for the superstar. This time around, he finds the kills. The Notorious put it away quickly, so avoiding that map point at this moment. Not too bad from Team Notorious. Definitely keeping themselves in conversation here on the Skyline Search.
Yeah, 4-3. It is going to be a one-round advantage to Notorious Gaming. They've lost 2 on the bounce now, and it's got to be a little bit of a blow in confidence. It's going to play on the back of the mind. So, again, at this point, though, when they were 1 down, they came back with a completely off-the-wall strategy. Just go all guns blazing and take the fight to Team Notorious. So, again, now with them on that offensive round, they've got to get the bomb down. It looks like it's going to be this kind of vanilla approach they've done successfully a couple of times, but it is going to be a first blood again. Make that mighty and Fabroни heading into the next game. Rafi joins them. And it is going to be Eric Boom looking to control this zone right now, and it is going to be a 1v2 Nadox with the clutch required.
Well, Eric Boom behind the counter. Nadek's going to be spotted, and that should be go time for Eric to slide out, clean it up, and no expectation for the gunfight to be as close as it was. But 3-3 on the score, 4-4 after the reset. And Team Notorious have completely evened things up inside of the map. So good looks from both sides. Notorious Gaming have been keeping things honest in terms of finding those first bloods and getting aggressive, but need to be cautious now, especially if you want to tie the series up one apiece.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an all-important first blood coming the way of Notorious Gaming. If they're able to get it, I think this could really see whether they are able to take this all the way in this S&D, and you can see a little bit of caution coming out of the team in yellow. I think Notorious Gaming expecting that aggressive push, but it's not come. It's going to give them an opportunity to get set up in their preferred defensive position. So we're going to get to see what kind of strategy Notorious Gaming can employ when they've been allowed. Melko just going to be watching for that flank. Fabroни watching for anyone pushing through Piano there. So over towards side pool. So any information is going to be good information. Mighty Colin about to get hit hard. Or
Yeah,
maybe not.
well, Mighty actually taking down, or no, it's Fabrone getting that first initial kill. He's going to jump into the elevators, back up into B. They've warded off Team Notorious for now, and you have to look towards the member, towards top catwalk to potentially have an option to split through the top, but it looks like FDOT's still having some connection issues, so Team Notorious not going to be in good showing for this matchup. Afro on the flank, though, can he even things up? He's got the read onto 1. Does he find the second?
No!
Snap around. It is a 2 versus 2. Afro willing his team to the finish line. Poplo, and it opens up a plan over towards B for Eric to make this chance.
Yeah, this is going to be really quick. 15 seconds, make it 44 seconds. But Eric's going to have to get set up pretty quick. You can see those green arrows starting to push out from Piano's side. So it's going to be one that goes down. It's a team nade in the end. That is so unfortunate for Notorious Gaming. It manages to snatch defeat from the jaws of victories. Oh, the wrong time to reload. Team Notorious, despite losing F-Dot, are going to go up 5-4 on the precipice of making this 2-0.
If there's anybody that's going to make things like that happen, it's Afro and Eric Boom together on a Skyline hard or a search and destroy. And just look at that play from Afro. The snap onto the second one, it just shows that the resilience for these players, I mean, you can't get checked out that easily, it looks like. Even in a 4-on-3, it's unfortunate the connection issues that FDOT's having right now, but you know, FDOT can be happy to know that his team has his back right now. So we're gonna let these players, get lobbied up again, Pablo, and we'll take a break again, let them set up, and we'll come back to this one. 5-4 up is Team Notorious, looking to go up 2-0 in this series, folks. We'll see you soon with that map 2, hoping to come to a close. Welcome back, everybody. We got Notorious Gaming, Team Notorious, and seems like things are still just not a little bit ready. So, this could be just another step on their way to getting the lobby going. My name is Seymour. With me is Pablo. This has been the EU Challengers Community Stream podcast so far.
Yes.
So we haven't gotten a real game going, Pablo, in a few seconds. And even like myself, at least on my screen, I'm in at least 2D
I'm
right
just,
now.
I'm
Or at
holding
least
Felix responsible.
280p.
280p. I'm holding Felix
That's
responsible.
what I'm
Oh
looking
yeah,
at.
I'm super pixelated. It's Minecraft, Pablo. But yeah, I don't know where to begin. My tech issues always seem to hinder us. And obviously we've got some cross-continent kind of stuff. Are we back in? Did I just hear from the magical producer that we are
Oh,
indeed
we're back in.
with some lovely volume overlays as well? Let's go.
Uh-oh. There we go. We got it.
I love that.
Brody's just holding stream hostage right now, but take a look at this. It's Eric Boom, Eric Boom and F Dot on Team Notorious versus Malco in a 1 versus 2. And Malco hits the flank. Eric's going to take him down. And just like that, Team Notorious taking the win on the Skyline Search and Destroy. So, Pablo, this was a lot of waiting for a very anticlimactic win.
Oh, let's just say the anticlimax of all anticlimaxes. It's gone terribly soft. So, yeah, it's age, isn't it? I know exactly the feeling, but yeah, that's going to be a 6-5 to Team Notorious, and they take this dub to the series 2-0. We're going to head into our second vault of the series eventually in what probably should have been a 35-minute game, but we've obviously had some tech issues. But yeah, looking solid at times. So you got to be fair, Colin. Notorious Gaming did put Team Notorious under some pressure. Probably a
Yeah,
game
they
we
did.
didn't expect to go 6-4, but it ends up being 6-4 or whatever. But yeah, incredible from Team Notorious. But Notorious Gaming looking solid. Can they do anything in control though, mate?
Well, I mean, we look at the maps, and I will say, we didn't expect that Search and Destroy to go as close as it was after what we saw in the hard point. And when we kind of look at like Skyline Search and Destroy in general, when you have Afro and Eric Boom, you just expect them both to be playing correct and hitting routes nonstop, which they were. And I think, when you have that connectivity issue with FDOT, maybe there's just a piece of the puzzle not there, and it's creating a little bit of a disconnect within these players. But
A literal disconnect.
a literal
And
disconnect.
A metaphysical
One at the same time, Pablo. And
so many levels to Call of Duty that people don't appreciate.
and I think FDOT's going to be coming out of this one saying, hey, guys, thanks for having my back there, because Afro, that 2-piece completely changed around the what could have been for Notorious Gaming. And to come away 2-0 like that, I think for Team Notorious, they're really setting themselves up for a 3-0 sweep as we're going back to a vault control. And nothing's really going to change here, especially considering back on that vault hard point, you had not just Eric Boom and Afro, running routes with the sub, but you also had Felix flexing over towards the sub as well. And then for something like Vault, I think Rafi was looking great as well in that hard point, especially with the rotations over towards that P4 area. He was just a standout. So this is going to be a tough one for Notorious Gaming to start the comeback on.
Yeah, I think they're going to be difficult for them to give up that Notorious name. I don't think it's as serious as all that, but I think we are expecting to see another yellow TN with the sword through it in this vault. But if we can take any positives away from that S&D, it was that Notorious Gaming able to put them under some pressure. Even when Felix was playing and connected, he some good ideas. They were a little aggressive. They took the kind of close quarter fight to Team Notorious and came out on top at times. So they got to go into this with a little bit of confidence. That conversation, you've got to be like, chalk the last 2 games. Let's just see if we can you've got to take it round at a time. Let's get the first round. Let's not get too dominated when we're on it's our offense. Let's make sure that we can kind of like get that geography. Now the key for me is going to be whether Team Notorious are going to come out flying out and really start to put the pressure on Notorious Gaming from at their spawn, and whether they cause that spawn trap that's going to allow them either to get the ticks or get a solid defense. So it's going to be interesting. They've got to utilize the pace and power of Afro and Eric Boom in this. And again, you've got to expect a big score. F-Dot putting up 30 in the Vault hardpoint. Expect him to do something similar in this as well. But Colin, in your mind, what have Notorious Gaming got to do, and who should we be looking to in that Vault control?
I think putting a big factor onto Natix is definitely something that you and I have been kind of expecting throughout this game, and we haven't really seen that form just yet. But you look at everybody on Notorious Gaming; they've had their moments. I think Natix and Fabron trying to keep up with those subs. They've been not too far behind, especially in that hard point. We saw moments where in the second set of rotations, they looked untouchable on that Vault hard point. And then just in a moment, it's like Team Notorious woke back up, but then they just couldn't get it going. And it's just finding that flow state that you were in back on that hard point is something that you're looking for, because it's not going to be an easy task. And you can't really look to just one member or two members to dig you out of this hole. It's got to be a team effort. And for players on Notorious Gaming who are on the rise still, who have in the past really proven to be upset players and upset and have that upset capability, I think that this Notorious game, they have the chances for sure. It just really comes down to slowing things down and not playing up to the pace that Team Notorious is offering, because if you allow them to play at their best, they're just going to run all over you.
Well, I think that's probably going to be the case going into this Vault control. I do expect this to be a sprint to the finish line from the team in yellow. I think they probably want to get it done, get themselves into the weekend and prepped for next week's continuation of the elite. But again, you've got to look at the personal ambitions of the players. Obviously, Eric Boom and Afro probably desperate to get a taste of the CDL again, probably more so Marcus than Eric, because he was a real surprise that he came out of that LA roster and kind of back into challenges. He seemed to be just so settled and so capable, even if he wasn't did as well as he probably would have liked over there within that team. I would have expected another team to pick him up, his capability being so high. So I think that was quite the surprise. And obviously Eric Boom now in that position where he's kind of swapped places with Super's going to be going over to Miami Heretics. He is going to be on the bench though, but that's going to be an opportunity for him to get settled and look to try and upset the apple cart over there as well. So it's just those personal ambitions driving the team, and they've got that experience of playing at the highest level, training at the highest level. The kind of practice that they get is it's miles apart from anything that the players on Notorious Gaming can even dream about. So this should be a Team Notorious win, but this is, if I'm Notorious Gaming, I'm just like, if I'm the coach, I'm like just trying to apply pressure. Don't make stupid mistakes. Don't try and play stuff on your own unless it's a coordinated approach where someone's going to flank. Try and do something, but more than anything else, Colin, do the basics, get your kills, get your trades, just take up the geography once you've got that space, and just try and nick a zone, especially on the offense, where even if you can get into that game 5 where you can potentially just have those extra zones and get into the better position. I can't see it happening. I think it's going to be a Team Notorious win, but that's the option for me if you're Notorious Gaming.
I think I'm right there with you, but I'm holding out for Notorious Gaming, and I would like to see them test this Team Notorious squad as we're getting ready to jump into this map 3. A lot to be looking forward to for both of these teams, and just in general, considering we're taking a look at Group A right now. Team Notorious, they're 3-0. Yesterday they reverse swept Katana Gaming and Pablo. That was a moment where it seemed like it really separated Team Notorious from the middle of the pack with Katana for that contention, and really solidified them as that #1 spot in Group A. Katana sitting below them 2-1, tied with Notorious Gaming right now at 2-1 as well. But you look across the board on teams that they have to be worried about, and I think it's Group B that you really have to be worried about right now if you're Team Notorious, because that Exceptional Gaming team and that Noctum Esports team, they still have yet to play each other, Pablo, and I think we're kind of looking to see who's going to come out of that one, to see who's going to be the top of Group B. There's a lot of teams to be kind of keeping your eye on for the playoffs, and I think for Team Notorious, it's just keeping that consistency across your group, and then keeping an eye on those teams for Group B to kind of make sure that in playoffs you have that chance to take a win here in the lead stage one. Because if you're players that are looking for your best shot at getting into the CDL, it's going to be this stage one and your performance here. Because if you can come out and slay, and a spot just so happens to be kind of looked at, then it's going to be your moment right here to really dictate if you have the chance to jump up early.
Well, there's a couple of problems that they face. Obviously, we've got issues with the amount of lands available through challenges. It does look like we are going to be heading into the game any minute, but yet the amount of options available for actually playing against each other in real life seem fairly limited right now. There are a couple of options coming from the Middle East where they might be able to support the scene a little bit more. But one of the conundrums that CDL teams are going to face if they want to pick up fresh talent, there is a minimal amount of statistics from actual lands that they're going to be
Yeah.
able to get this season. So a lot of this is going to have to be taken from online, and then we get the online argument. But we are actually back into the action, Colin. Control Vault 2-0 to Notorious, looking very, very strong. Eric Boom already pushing up, manages to duck away from that nade, and he's going to get himself right up to the other end and potentially come around the back.
It was a slow start to the Vault hardpoint from Notorious Gaming. Already, it's Natix kicking things off with a double kill, and I like this from Mighty, just trying to keep that pressure up, see if you can lessen the load of pressure over towards this A zone. Fabroni also going to find Rafi through that top catwalk, so slow and steady right now. A minute already on the time bank, and we haven't seen Team Notorious actually get a full shot at the zone. The subs are slaying out, and you got to find some answers soon if you're Team Notorious here on this offense.
Yeah, 43 seconds. Great defensive work from Notorious Gaming. We said they needed to apply a bit of pressure, do something a bit different when you got Afro slaying out like that. And it's going to be very difficult. Oh, that's a big kill as well. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting 30 seconds. Can the team in green hold out? It is going to be a foot onto the zone now. And it's going to be that A partially done, only a little bit. Mighty looking to get that. That's a big pick between Boom and Afro, and that's going to just allow them to get that first tick over. And we talk about time. 30 seconds doesn't seem like a lot of time, but right now Team Notorious making the most of it, and they've got some great reads as well.
Well, you don't want to let off the gas just yet, and Notorious Gaming, they're not going to do that. As 23 seconds, they're looking to right their wrongs from maps 1 and map 2. And get a little revenge for what I'm sure they felt should have been a map win on that Skyline search. 11 seconds. This looks like it's going to be a last chance for Team Notorious to hit this together. And Natix is on the hunt, trying to lock down these players over towards B. He should be able to clean this one up. The shots are good. At cleaned up. 2 seconds left. Everybody off the respawn. Nobody touches. And Pablo, if there's one way you want to kick off what could be a reverse sweep, it's just like this.
Oh, that's going to be a hell of a broom, mate. They've got a lot of rubble to collect if they want to make this a clean sweep and get the 3-2. But again, if you're going to do it, start well, and that round is exactly what Notorious Gaming needed to do. A confidence booster, you might say, but definitely in terms of their not just individual ability, but their communication definitely looked on point. They had players calling out from spawn, they had players calling out on the flank, so it just became very difficult for Team Notorious to try and get any momentum. And even when the likes of Eric Boom tried to get around the back, F-Dot at one point tried to get around the back towards that tiles area, and it just wasn't able to do it. So great work from Notorious Gaming.
Well, Natix is not going to be stopping at all, as it's going to be a team kill from Eric Boom to open up some of these lanes. Melko and Natix now jumping onto the point, stops the clock, and Natix wants to do one better, looking for the respawning player, slides out. He is dancing circles around Eric Boom at the moment, and it's allowing the rest of Notorious Gaming to already get a segment at A.
Yeah, this is big picks from the guys in green. They've got themselves a tick, and honestly, they're on their way to their second tick right now. That's going to be almost more than what any of the Team Notorious guys were able to do, and this is looking very solid for them. I mean, we laugh mockingly that they're not going to be able to do reverse, but right now they're looking very capable. In fact, they get the A zone, and that's going to leave them 2-11 to get B in a 3-life lead in terms of kills. So incredible plays from Notorious Gaming, but this is probably going to set the standard. Can they do the more difficult zone? You got massive firepower from the team in yellow. This is going to require an intelligent push from Notorious Gaming.
Well, We've seen teams excel in control. We've seen teams look a little bit struggle on this game mode, especially in Black Ops 6. And you can see that Team Notorious, maybe for Vault Control, not feeling the most comfortable in this exact moment. As over towards B, the time is still stopped, a minute 38. You have F-Dot in top art, but he's not able to see anything on these players. The car's going to blow up. Unfortunately, it's going to be Fibron taking off. Mighty not able to stay alive. So that first segment at B wasn't captured, Pablo. And this is where Team Notorious need to find some sort of control back into the map.
Yeah, this is big plays from Nadox, though, to hold mid. Manages to play his life. No chase is on. He's going to be able to get that van control. So he's going to look to use the SMG to try and provide a bit of pressure. But again, after another big kill, got himself a mini 2-streak, 5 and 3. And that's going to put them on the precipice of that second tick. This is unreal plays. You know, if they're able to see this B zone over, they're going to get that 2-0. That's going to put them on that defensive round. This could be huge for them. That's a massive kill right there. And that's potentially that B zone. It's going to require Rafi to go absolutely
Rafi.
start to drain that back column. Now this Rafi with the 2-piece, he's starting to slaughter them, and is the worm about to turn.
Well, 5v10, not done yet. Still some work to be done. You have a flank through mid, though. Already in the streets, these players are on the hunt for Team Notorious members, and it's down to 3 more respawns. Rafi not able to stay alive. He looked to hit a flank of his own, but it's for Fibron to connect with 2, and Mighty to put it away for Notorious Gaming. Now up 2-0 in the control. We thought this was Team Notorious about to sail away with it, Pablo, but Notorious Gaming, I mean, they have the skill, and they've been practicing the reps on Vault Control. They look good here.
Mate, I mean, if you just said to me, yeah, they're not going to just win a round, they're going to win 2, but they're also going to TDM the other team, then I would have been like, TDM Afro and Eric Boom, I'm not so sure, but looks like Notorious Gaming have come to make up the numbers. They've come to make up and break up the heart of Team Notorious, because Notorious Gaming right now at 2-0 opening control against one of the quickest and most powerful sides in Challenges Europe right now, and that's become on the back of some massive plays. Afro 9 and 10. I believe it did see a 5 and 13 there for one of the players, potentially Rafi. So yeah, just really tricky right now, but it is going to be first 3 kills going the way of the boys in yellow. The chase is on. Nadox just looking to get that pick as he just gets out towards elbow. But Colin, this is going to require a little bit of a regain mentally and, you know, physically from the boys in yellow.
It will, for sure. And it looks like they have at least started their way back in. Eric's gonna hop the zone. Afro looking to get here in time to assist, but it's the front line that needs to hold strong. And so far, Eric's done just that. He finds a kill into Mighty, not able to convert into 2. Afro's here, though, to secure that second tick at A. Pushes forward. Good kill onto Fibron. Now the rest of the team here to stack the zone, get it done, and still stake some claim into this Vault Control.
Yeah, this is going to be...
It's not
big
done.
moment for them. They need to see it over the line, though, don't they? Obviously, they need to get this over the line, but they haven't done it. And this could be another big opportunity. And Colin, that kill feed's going green again. And they were on the precipice of getting that A, but time is not going to be their friend. Kills and deaths aren't going to be their friend. This could be a very, very tricky round from a point where they looked like they were on the precipice of bringing this back. F-Dot just trying to do his best there, gets a couple of picks, looking to get a little bit of suppressive power again. Just wants to play his life, so decides to pull away from that spawn control, and that's going to tie him up and get him killed. So right now, struggle bus again for Team Notorious.
Well, 32 seconds for Notorious to get back into that form that we saw at the start of this round. And Malco just wants to be an issue in the back. Double slide out. It's 3 down for Notorious Gaming. Back to A to get this going, to right their wrongs from the past. But these SMGs are frying right now on Notorious Gaming. They're still going to fight for this one tooth and nail. Fibron drops down. Eric not able to finish the kill right away. Snaps back in, trying to hold on strong for Team Notorious. The slide out. The overextension wins the fight versus Mighty. On to A is Team Notorious yet again. But will it be enough, Pablo? So far, they've been stopped at the buzzer again and again. And could this be another chance for Notorious Gaming to shut them down? Malco in the spawn. A gets secured. 6 playing 6. This is going to go down to the wire.
TDM time, Colin. This is going to come down to life count 103. No one on the point as of yet. Those yellow arrows starting to converge around B, and you can see the green arrows just looking to try and get set up in their preferred defensive position. That's going to be first blood in this mini TDM, going the way of Notorious Gaming. 5 lives played, 6. Rafi looking to get a pick. He's going to tie that life count up to 5 before, though. T-Not now to Notorious. No respawns left. They're in an S&D position, but there's no bomb to put down, and 37 seconds of hell time to go. 5 lives from Notorious Gamer, and that's going to be a big kill. It's going to put them in a 4v4, though. Still 30 seconds. They still need to be able to get a foot over to that zone. You can see 3 players carrying on, but that's going to be advantage to Team Notorious. 23 seconds on the clock. 4 plays 3, and right now those green arrows all pinned back.
Tension is split. Numbers are lessened. 2v4. It's a good old game of search and destroy on the objective. You sit, and Team Notorious just have to wait. Malco in behind. Good shots in the air. It cuts things down to 1 life difference. Nipping at the toes is for Brone, and they need something to go right pretty soon. Second tick is in. Malco around the back. 2 versus 2, but it's all down to Malco to clutch up, to put it away here, to end this vault. Has to slide in for the contest, but the double chows out, and Team Notorious keep things going. We're not done yet, Pablo. They still want to fight for the 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, absolutely. We thought they were down and out. Thought Notorious Gamer were going to drag us into that Skyline hardpoint, which might have been hell for them. But this Team Notorious refused to die. 2-0 up. They want to see this control out, and there's going to be a round on the board for them. But down to the wire, Colin. At one point, we were in a 4v4 from a 6v6. It was 1 kill, then another kill for either side. As exciting as it gets in Control. Incredible scenes coming out of European challenges. And it's going to be Team Notorious looking again to try and get their foothold into this game. 1 round down. And again, it's just surprising, Colin, just how well Notorious Gaming have gone in terms of they're going toe-to-toe for kills against this incredibly fast and powerful side.
Yeah. It's night and day, Pablo, from maps 1 and 2, at least towards the end of map 2. I mean, Notorious Gaming, they definitely did make some waves back in that search and destroy, but nothing like what we saw in the first 3 rounds of this control. Here in round 4, though, Team Notorious, it seems like they're here to play, and they've completely pushed Notorious Gaming back. Now with control over towards gold, they're going to be spawning Notorious Gaming all the way over towards the back of P2, and that is going to delay so much time for the rotation in towards A and force these members of Notorious to go on the hunt and see if they can slay out. Unfortunately, still not able to take Eric Boom away from gold, so the spawns are going to be far, and each kill you lose is going to delay even more time on point.
Yeah, not able to get that second tick over towards A. Just a couple of yellow arrows able to squeeze in and get those kills with a little distraction kill. It is going to be a push over towards this right-hand side. Whether they decide to push through mid, it does look like they're going to do that. They get the picks, but it is going to be a quick trade out, and that's going to be a really important 2-piece for Eric Boom. That's going to just absolutely deflate that push and only leave them with 33 seconds on the hill. Afro and Eric Boom looking to team up and go absolutely off. Eric Boom was negative at one point. It's now 20 and 20. Absolutely picked up in terms of the slaying power and pace, and with the support from Rafi just providing that suppressive fire over towards the spawn. It is going to get backed up by a couple of stuns though, and that's going to force him out towards that mid area, but he's got tons of information. I'm sure he's been able to tell the players exactly where they are, but they're going to 3-stack it and ensure that they get that A point. It's going to give them about 120 on the clock, and it's going to be 12 lives, plays 15 again. I think this is going to go to the wire.
Well, we know Vault, and we know 1 good 4 down can be an offensive round win. On to B, it's not easy to retake that, especially if there's trophies down. And look at player number 6, Natix. He's all the way onto the flank. Mighty's going to try to assist on this one and keep some attention forward, and it does. Natix has a chance to blow everything up, but he's losing out on teammates, and that's going to make it a little bit disconnected for Natix to need to play his life up top. He's going to be cut down by Afro, and that completely silences this attack from Notorious Gaming.
Yeah, this is going to be all about control to mid now, and whether the team in green can get the more important kills. They've got to get their trades, and right now those yellow arrows stacked up across the middle of the map looking to get the picks. This is going to be very, very tricky for the young French players to be able to break this down. Notorious Gamer, 23 seconds. That clock ticking down ever so quickly now, and this could tie things up and take us to that game 5. And that's going to be a yellow kill feed with 2 more kills going the way of Rafi, and that is indeed going to be Team Notorious tying this control up, taking the momentum, and maybe taking the psychological high ground. Certainly going into game 5, Colin, with confidence a boot.
Yeah, round 5 with segments. I mean, I wasn't actually tracking it because I thought Notorious Gaming were going to run away with things in that 3rd round and absolutely clutch up. But it should be defense for Notorious Gaming on that last side. I could be wrong if Team Notorious actually did flip things out towards the end of it. No, it is going to be Notorious Gaming on the defensive side for this round number 5. And you mentioned it at the start for Notorious Gaming and what they can do to prolong the series into a map 4, maybe even a map 5. And getting defense in round 5 of a control is a great step for this one. It's just, can they put it away after they've worked so hard on this map 3?
Yeah, this is going to be entirely terrible for Notorious Gaming if they throw this away again. All we asked was that they put the team under pressure and just try and play with a bit more vigor, and that's exactly what they've done. They've gone toe to toe in terms of slaying power. They've gone toe to toe in terms of enthusiasm and the kind of energy required to stay with this team, and they've just still not been able to get it over the line. I'm sure they're going to kick themselves if they don't take this map and go on to that map 4 skyline. But again, you can never really doubt the sheer talent coming out of the team in yellow. But again, this is toe to toe. 22 lives, plays 21, only a tick and a half towards A. It's been largely wild, and the team of Notorious Gaming have managed to do a great job of just constantly keeping that attraction towards that A zone. So big plays coming out of them.
Big plays indeed. And Notorious Gaming, they could have stopped towards this pressure on A so far. 48 seconds, but a couple kills in the feed. It's yellow. And Team Notorious working this A zone perfectly. Second ticks in. Mighty looks like he wants to take one last swing at this. The slide out. Afro reads it. Rafi, a second one. A is going to be secured. And this is a lot of pressure for Notorious Gaming to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely huge plays. They've managed to get themselves over that line, and they're going to be 140. 20 lives, plays 14. So a little bit of the power that we expected to come out of Team Notorious just shown with a 9 life. And again, one of the keys, I suppose, to this is, Colin, that these better players have that longer concentration ability to maintain that kind of incredible pace and comms, and it's something obviously that takes a little bit of time to get to that level. But it is going to be firepower coming out of Eric Boone. 28 and 25. He didn't start as quickly as he's ending, which I suppose is the best way to do it. A tick and a half over towards B, 122 on the clock, and right now Notorious Gaming looking like they are on the struggle bus.
Well, Afro with another big win. Can he find 2? He's just going to play his life. Not able to get away from Melko just yet. 13 v8. 1 minute and 8 seconds. I mean, Pablo, this could be another buzzer beater for Notorious, but can they ice up? Can they close out? It's not going to be easy at all. Afro trying to chase down this kill. He finds it. Melko going to be cut down through mid. Lives, again, just such a large margin in favor of Team Notorious.
Yeah, 5 life count, 46 seconds on the clock. Still a little bit of work for Team Notorious to do. This could go
Afro gets an angle.
Absolutely anyway. Afro with a freebie there, and it's got to be absolutely motionless coming out of Notorious Gaming, but it is going to be a big pick. It is going to be only a 4 life count now, and Nadoc's just making sure that no one pushes around the back. It is a big play as we see F-Dot just try and do it, but those lives, Colin, are slowly but surely getting whittled down. It's going back to a 6v6, 7-6 right now. We're going to see a repetition of the previous round. Notorious Gaming on the precipice and potentially doing something amazing.
It's Vault. It's an advantage, but it's not a guarantee. And 20 seconds left, a 1 life difference. Afro's going to slide out, stop this clock. 16.7. Eric now through mid. He's going to find the opening. Afro's going to take this and run, but it looks like he's been spotted and called out. They're on the chase to see if they can hunt him down, but he's not going to die for free. And that's 3 down the other way. 2 lives left for Notorious. Make it 1. Team Notorious from down under in the control, claw their way back, and 3-0 sweep the series, staying flawless in Group A.
I mean, incredible scenes, mate. Incredible scenes. At one point, we were so close to seeing Notorious Gaming bringing it back to a 3-2 win from a point of being 2-0 up in the control, and then maybe taking it to that game 4. But the power, the experience, and the ice in the veins of Team Notorious just too much in the end. But they can take a lot away from that control and be relatively proud about that control performance when you compare it to the blowouts in the previous 2 games, 6-4 in the S&D, and then obviously a very difficult hard point for them. But Wild, so much to talk about in that game. Really big plays in the control round. Notorious Game and looked like they were about to throw away what would have been a relatively easy 3-0. But in the end, it is going to be just too much for Notorious Game, and incredible scenes and really exciting towards the end.
No, it has been a great time to see these teams go head to head, Pablo. We can look back at the maps to just get a recap on what we've seen so far in this best of 5. 127 to 250 on the Vault hardpoint. I thought that was Team Notorious staking their claim on this series early on, where they looked untouchable on a lot of those rotations. Very heads up, very fundamental to get those setups over towards P2 and P4. But we moved to the Skyline Search, and Pablo, that's where Notorious Gaming started to find their form, and a lot of first bloods, the follow-ups from the Jackals. I think it was the triple SMG setup that was really the early issue for Team Notorious, but you had Afro really go big to find that round 5 for the team, and the reset they just took over towards the end of it. And that Vault control, man, I thought for a second Notorious Gaming cracked the code. They looked so dang good in those first 2 rounds, and even in the 3rd round as well. But you just can't count these players out. Team Notorious, I mean, they've been at the top of Europe for so long, and this is why.
Well, they say Pandora's box is full of hope. Well, Vault safe. It seemed to be full of hope for Notorious Gaming, but it was slammed shut in the end. And it looks like a comfortable win especially when you look at the hard point. But really, they were put under pressure in S&D, and they were put massively under pressure in that Vault. But you got to talk about what you mentioned earlier on in that split between the 2 groups. Now, Notorious making that look really difficult against the team they probably should have put to bed a lot quicker. And then when you look at the performances coming out of Noctum, coming out of Exceptional Gaming, that really does put them in that kind of 3rd and 4th spot with Katana. So it makes it very difficult for them going into next week's Elite, when they do finally have to play against the likes of Noctum, who are completely in control, by the way, of this Elite, with a 12-0 map count right now. And when you look at the capabilities coming out of Exceptional Gaming, with Harry probably, for me, the most on fire player in Europe right now, it really does put it into perspective. Just that there is slowly but surely starting to see the cream of the crop rise to the top. Team Notorious, though, I mean, on paper it looks great, 3-0, but we could see there were some moments there, some flaws and some faults that they're going to need to shore up.
Yeah, no, I think that Noctum 3-0 sweeping Exceptional Gaming really sets up the storyline of Team Notorious versus Noctum, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking forward to come playoffs if it does happen. But and that's going to be due time. We still got a lot of Call of Duty to get through, Pablo, before we get to that moment. And for you and I, it's going to be all said and done for the community stream, at least for Europe. We still got North America coming up later around 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure that you're following twitch.tv/NfinityBL for the coverage in that region. There's a lot to do for North America as well. And a big shout out to the casters coming on later for that one. But Pablo, I appreciate casting with you, buddy. It's been such a great time today. I gotta go get ready for work, as I gotta leave pretty soon. But the games in Europe always a treat. And for everybody tuning in for this one, thank you for coming through, and we hope to see you on North America as well.
Ciao.